what are your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to.
The moment the paperwork was filed, the clock started ticking on what might be the most explosive showdown in the history of professional sports. And sitting right at the center of this storm is the rookie who changed everything. You have likely heard the whispers about jealousy and the hard fouls on the court, but the real war isn't happening between the players anymore. It is happening in the boardrooms, and Caitlin Clark is the nuclear weapon the players are finally ready to use. For years, the owners have handed down offers that many describe as insulting, hiding behind spreadsheets that claim poverty while the league's popularity skyrockets into the stratosphere. But when the WNBA Players Association officially opted out of their collective bargaining agreement recently, it sent a shockwave through the front offices that screamed one thing: we know what we are worth, and we are coming for it. The narrative that Caitlin Clark is just happy to be there is quickly crumbling as the reality of the business sets in. Imagine generating millions of dollars in ticket sales, jersey revenue, and broadcast rights, only to be handed a paycheck that looks more like a mid-level manager's salary than a generational superstar's compensation. This isn't just about greed. It is about a broken system that has taken advantage of its talent for decades. And for the first time, the players have the leverage to burn the old deal to the ground. But to understand why this specific rejection of the owner's status quo is causing such a frenzy, we have to look at the numbers that the league tried to keep quiet. The sheer disparity between the money coming in and the money going out to the women on the court is not just a gap, it is a canyon, and the bridge is about to collapse. The fury building up behind the scenes is palpable. We are seeing the polite veneer of growing the game being ripped away to reveal a ruthless negotiation where feelings are getting hurt and legacies are on the line. It started with a rookie contract that shocked the world, not because of how high it was, but because of how painfully low it appeared next to the headlines. When Caitlin Clark signed for a base salary of roughly $76,000, the general public lost their minds. People couldn't comprehend how an athlete filling arenas faster than most NBA teams could be paid less than the mascot in some cities. But that $76,000 figure was just the tip of the iceberg, a symbol of a salary cap structure designed for a league that no longer exists. The owners have long argued that the league loses money. Estimates of $50 million a year have been thrown around like a shield to deflect requests for higher pay. They told the players that until the league turned a genuine profit, the salaries had to stay suppressed. It was a good enough offer for a league struggling to survive. But then, the 2024 season happened. Viewership on ESPN exploded by 170%. Games involving the Indiana Fever were outdrawing Major League Baseball games and competing with the biggest sporting events in the country. Merchandise wasn't just selling out, it was on back order for months. The math had fundamentally changed overnight. The players, led by union president Nneka Ogwumike, but spiritually fueled by the Clark economy, looked at the owners and realized that the "we are broke" excuse was no longer going to fly. The rejection of the current labor deal wasn't just a request for a raise. It was a declaration that the players felt deceived. They saw the new media rights deal on the horizon, a staggering package worth $2.2 billion over 11 years, and realized that under the current rules, they might not see a dime of that upside in the way they deserved. The rage isn't just about the money in the bank today, it is about the equity of the future. The players want a piece of the pie, not just the crumbs left over after the owners pay themselves. This is where the tension shifts from the court to the conference room, and things are getting ugly. The owners are reportedly stunned by the aggression of the opt-out. They assumed that the influx of charter flights and better hotels would be enough to placate the stars for a few more years. They underestimated the frustration of players who have been grinding overseas in Turkey, Russia, and China just to make ends meet, risking their health and safety because their WNBA salaries were essentially part-time wages. Caitlin Clark staying in the States during the offseason was a luxury most players couldn't afford until recently, And even she is leaving millions on the table by being restricted by the rookie scale. The not good enough sentiment comes from a place of exhaustion. For years, players were told to be grateful that the league existed at all. They were told that the NBA was subsidizing their existence, so they should take what they are, given and smile for the cameras. But when you have a singular talent who drives ticket prices up by 300% in every city she visits, the charity narrative dies. You cannot tell an employee they are a charity case while you are charging $200 for a nosebleed seat to watch them work. This contradiction is what fueled the unanimous decision to opt out. It wasn't a split vote. It was a unified front that brought together the veterans who were rumored to be jealous of Clark and the rookies who are riding her wave. In a strange twist of fate, the very thing the media tried to use to divide the league, Caitlin Clark's fame, became the glue that held the union together. The veterans realized that Clark is the battering ram they can use to break down the owner's door. If the league shuts down because of a labor dispute, the owners lose the momentum of the greatest viewership spike in history. They lose the casual fans who just tuned in. The players know this. They know that the owners are terrified of killing the golden goose right when she has started laying eggs. This creates a leverage dynamic that has never existed in women's sports before. But don't think for a second that the owners are going to roll over and open the checkbook without a fight. The leaks are already starting. We are hearing whispers from league sources suggesting that the players are being greedy, that they don't understand the costs of running these arenas, and that the $50 million loss figure is real. This is classic negotiation warfare. They want to paint the players as out of touch with reality. However, the players are armed with their own data now. They are pointing to the valuation of teams skyrocketing. The Las Vegas Aces aren't just a basketball team, they are a massive brand. The Seattle Storm's valuation is through the roof. The players are asking a simple question. If the league is such a money pit, why are billionaires fighting to buy expansion teams in the Bay Area and Toronto? You don't spend hundreds of millions of dollars to buy into a failing business. You buy in because you know the explosion is coming, and the players want their equity share before the owners lock them into another bad deal for a decade. The specific demands that the players are making would fundamentally change the league's structure. They want a capital-based model. In the past, players only got revenue sharing if the league hit very specific, hard-to-reach revenue targets. It was a carrot on a stick that was always just out of reach. Now they want a percentage of the revenue from the very first dollar. They want better retirement benefits, so they don't have to limp into their 40s with no safety net. They want pregnancy benefits that don't punish them for starting a family. And perhaps most controversially, they want the hard salary cap to soften. The current system creates a bottleneck where teams literally cannot afford to keep their own stars. Imagine the Indiana Fever in 3 years. Under the current rules, they might struggle to pay Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and another star what they are truly worth because of the artificial ceiling placed on salaries. The players are fighting to remove these shackles so that super teams can form naturally and stars can be paid like stars. But there is a darker side to this negotiation, one that involves the potential for a lockout. If a deal isn't reached by the end of the 2025 season, the WNBA could go dark. Imagine the catastrophe of building all this momentum, capturing the attention of the world, and then having the doors chained shut because billionaires and millionaires couldn't agree on how to split the windfall. The players have signaled they are willing to risk it. They are building up their war chests, saving their money, and preparing for a work stoppage. This level of militancy is new. It speaks to the rage mentioned in the headlines, a deep-seated anger at being treated like second-class citizens in their own profession. Caitlin Clark's role in this is fascinating because she has remained publicly diplomatic, but her influence is doing the talking. Every time she signs a massive endorsement deal, like the $28 million contract with Nike, it highlights the absurdity of her WNBA paycheck. When Nike thinks you are worth $28 million and the league thinks you are worth $76,000, the league looks incompetent. It makes the WNBA look like a stepping stone rather than the destination. The players want the WNBA to be the destination. They want to stop the prioritization fight, where the league punishes players for coming late from overseas. The players' argument is simple. Pay us enough to stay home, and we will stay home. Don't punish us for trying to maximize our earning window while our bodies still work. The disconnect between the league office and the locker room was perfectly illustrated during the charter flight debacle. For years, players argued that flying commercial was dangerous and detrimental to their performance. They were crammed into middle seats, dealing with delays and recovering poorly. The league said charters were too expensive. Then, the moment Caitlin Clark arrived and security became a nightmare at public airports, the league magically found the money for a charter program. While this was a victory, it rubbed many veterans the wrong way. It proved that the money was always there, or at least accessible, but it only mattered when the golden child was at risk. This bitterness is fueling the current negotiations. The veterans are saying, okay, you found money for planes, now find money for our pensions. The offer that the owners initially hinted at was likely a modest bump, maybe a 10 or 20% increase in the cap. In a normal year, that might have been acceptable. In the year of Caitlin Clark, it is an insult. The players are looking for a massive correction, possibly a doubling or tripling of the salary cap over the next few years to match the revenue growth. They are watching the NBA players sign contracts worth $300 million and wondering why they are fighting for scraps. No one expects WNBA salaries to equal NBA salaries overnight. The revenue difference is still massive, but the percentage of revenue shared is the key. NBA players get roughly 50% of basketball-related income. WNBA players have been getting a far smaller, more restricted slice. The demand is for parity in the split, not necessarily the total dollar amount yet. This is a crucial distinction that the owners try to blur in the media. They try to make the players look delusional, as if they are asking for LeBron James money. They aren't. They are asking for the LeBron James percentage. The rage is also directed at the league's marketing strategy. For years, the players felt the league failed to market them correctly. Now that Clark has done the marketing for them, the players feel vindicated. They proved that the product was always good. It was the exposure that was lacking. Now that the exposure is here, they refuse to let the owners reap all the rewards. We also have to talk about the physical toll. The WNBA is a grind. The season is condensed, the travel is brutal, and the physicality is intense. We saw the discourse around the hard fouls on Clark. While the media spun it as hate, many players saw it as the natural intensity of a league where every roster spot is a fight for survival. Because there are only 12 teams and 144 roster spots, the WNBA is the hardest league in the world to make. You have first-round draft picks getting cut before the season starts. This scarcity creates a pressure cooker environment. The players want expansion. They want more teams, more jobs, and more opportunities. The owners are moving slowly on expansion, cautious about diluting the talent pool or overextending financially. The players' union is pushing for faster expansion as part of the new deal. They want to see 16 or 18 teams, which would open up 50 more jobs and create a healthier ecosystem. The rejection of the owner's approach is a rejection of this artificial scarcity. But what happens next? The timeline is tight. The 2025 season will be played under the current deal, but it will be played under a dark cloud of impending doom. Every press conference, every interview will be shadowed by the question of the labor deal. Caitlin Clark, who just wants to play basketball, will be forced to answer questions about revenue sharing and strike possibilities. It is a heavy burden for a young star, but she seems to understand the assignment. Her camp knows that rising tides lift all boats. If she helps the union secure a massive bag, she becomes a hero to the veterans who initially side-eyed her. It is the ultimate way to win over the locker room. Get everyone paid. The owners know this too. They know that if they can drive a wedge between Clark and the union, they win. They might try to offer ambassador deals or side channels to pay the superstars while keeping the rank-and-file players suppressed. But the union's solidarity seems stronger than ever. They have seen what happens when they stick together. The not good enough stance is a gamble, but a calculated one. They are betting that the networks, Disney, Amazon, NBC, will pressure the league to settle. These networks just paid billions for the rights. The last thing they want is a work stoppage right when the ratings are peaking. The corporate pressure might be the player's best friend. Amazon does not want to lose its new Thursday night WNBA slot. NBC does not want to lose its return to basketball. The players are holding the networks hostage to get to the owners. It is a brilliant, ruthless strategy. And amid all this business maneuvering, the fans are the ones watching with bated breath. The fear is that the suits will ruin the magic. We have seen it happen in other sports. Hockey lockouts that killed momentum, baseball strikes that alienated fans for years. The WNBA is in a fragile, beautiful moment of growth. A lockout could shatter that. But the players argue that the risk is necessary because the current path is unsustainable. You cannot have a professional league where the athletes have to work second jobs in the off-season or leave the country to pay their mortgages. That isn't a major league. That is a hobby. The WNBPA is done with the WNBA being treated like a hobby. They are demanding it be treated like a billion-dollar business. The anger, the rage, the frustration, it all boils down to respect. Respect for the work, respect for the growth, and respect for the value they bring. When the owners come back to the table, they need to bring more than just apologies and incremental raises. They need to bring a transformational offer. If they don't, the rage we have seen so far will look like a mild annoyance compared to the firestorm that is coming. The players are ready to walk. Caitlin Clark is ready to lead the new generation, and the world is watching to see if the WNBA owners are smart enough to pay up or foolish enough to blow it all up. The clock is ticking, and the silence from the owner's side is deafening. But make no mistake, the noise from the players is only going to get louder. This is not just about a contract, it is about the soul of the sport. The days of shut up and dribble are over. The days of pay us what we owe have begun. And for the WNBA, nothing will ever be the same again. The owners have a choice: partner with the players and ride this rocket ship to the moon, or fight them and watch the rocket crash on the launch pad. The ball is in their court, but for the first time in history, the players control the game clock. This negotiation will define the next 20 years of women's sports. The stakes could not be higher. The money has never been bigger, and the patience of the players has never been thinner. The not good enough era is over. The pay us era is here. And everyone from the rookie sensation to the seasoned veteran is ready for the fight of their lives. The revolution will be televised, and it will be negotiated, and it will likely be very, very expensive for the people writing the checks. But as the players would say, it's about time. The owners must realize that the product on the floor is the only reason they have a business to begin with. Without the women, there are no media deals, no ticket sales, no merch drops. The leverage has shifted. The WNBA is finally a big league, with big league problems and big league demands. The question remains, can the owners handle the heat, or will they get burned by the very fire they helped kindle? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the players are not blinking first. They have stared down the barrel of irrelevance for decades. A labor dispute is a walk in the park compared to what they have already survived. The rage is real, and it is justified. Now we wait to see if it leads to a resolution or a revolution. The smart money is on the players, because in the end, the talent always wins. And right now, the WNBA has more talent and more leverage than ever before. The owners better have a good calculator, because the price of doing business just went up. Way up. The moment the paperwork was filed, the clock started ticking on what might be the most explosive showdown in the history of professional sports. And sitting right at the center of this storm is the rookie who changed everything. You have likely heard the whispers about jealousy and the hard fouls on the court, but the real war isn't happening between the players anymore. It is happening in the boardrooms, and Caitlin Clark is the nuclear weapon the players are finally ready to use. For years, the owners have handed down offers that many describe as insulting, hiding behind spreadsheets that claim poverty while the league's popularity skyrockets into the stratosphere. But when the WNBA Players Association officially opted out of their collective bargaining agreement recently, it sent a shockwave through the front offices that screamed one thing: we know what we are worth, and we are coming for it. The narrative that Caitlin Clark is just happy to be there is quickly crumbling as the reality of the business sets in. Imagine generating millions of dollars in ticket sales, jersey revenue, and broadcast rights, only to be handed a paycheck that looks more like a mid-level manager